Hello there, I'm Terra. I released some weapon fixes for Fallout VR in the last few weeks, and this video is hopefully a tutorial on how to fix this issue by yourself, because I probably won't fix every weapon out there, mainly those I use myself. Let's talk about the issue first. You install a new weapon mod. It loads in, but when you console in or craft a weapon, it crashes, or when you modify the weapon, especially the sights, it crashes. The issue seems to be that the sights contain some shaders which Fallout Pancake can handle, but Fallout VR doesn't. Not exactly sure why that is. I only found out by try and error. And this workaround I'm showing you will contain some try and error. So we need three tools to get this done. We need NifScope. It's on GitHub, last updated 2018, but still works. The Bethesda Archive Extractor, you can get it on the Nexus. And we need Xedit. Not for every mod, but mostly useful. It's a useful tool anyway, so get used to it. It's amazing what it can do. Yeah, that's it. Three tools are needed. Let's go into Mod Organizer. I start Xedit via the Mod Organizer. I'm not sure if Vortex can do that too. Let's run it, and we will look into two mods. The one is the Russian Assault Pack I just mentioned, and the Grease Gun. Grease Gun is an older mod, but it already had this issue. Out of my head, I'll remember the MPX also had this issue. Haven't done a fix for it yet, but I remember some comments on the mod page. And while we are at it, newer mods. After the update in, I believe it was December or late November 2019, newer mods don't load into Fallout VR. That's because they use a new version form. If you want to change it, the Russian Assault Pack, let's expand it. File header, you see version 1.0. You have to change it, yes, I'm sure, to 0.95. That usually helps. It does this way. So let's look into weapons. The Russian Assault Pack has 5 weapons in it, and we will only look into one because it's the same process with every one of those weapons, and everyone had this issue in this mod. And also open object modifications. This contains all the modifications available for all of the 5 weapons. I have to mention the weapons. When you mod them at a workbench, it seems that they use the same sights, like Spectre or something. But although they are named exactly the same and look the same, the meshes, which we're going to alter, are still different. So if all 5 weapons have the same scope, in this case they all got their own mesh, so it's quite a lot of sides you have to change. But okay, let's look further into it. So the Bison. Here we got every weapon entry, what's named, etc. And there's a part called Object Template. This one defines the different setups the weapon can spawn. And why we're here is because there are some weapons, when you spawn them in, craft them, there is a possibility they spawn with different sights, and we want to use to have the weapon with the iron sight, so we can further look into what sights are causing the issue. And it's usually the iron sights don't cause any issue, so it's nice to start with that one, and it doesn't crash when you have the weapon with the iron sights. So with the Bison, it's a good example because I know it has this issue. Here you see every attachment it will spawn with, and it's either a mod our mod collection. Mod collection refers to a pool of different mods available, and we can look here, mod call Bison scopes. This means when you spawn the Bison in, it has a random site in the pool of all sites available for it, and we don't want that. So we have to find a replacement, and in the long list of mods, there is you can find the iron site for the Bison. This mod is by Nova Finch, and he usually organizes his mod quite well. You could also use the filter of xedit to find it, or you can just scroll down and search for it. I already know that's quite at the bottom. And you see the form ID, double click, and we copy it. Now we paste it where it says mod collection scopes. Right, edit. It's handy to do it for all weapons at once, but because we're not going to fix the whole mod in this video, we only do this one. And now we xedit and let it save. You can revert this change later when you fixed everything, but for now, since we have to do some try and error, it's good to have it with iron sites. Okay, that's it for xedit. Next step is use the Bethesda Archive Extractor. This tool lets you extract the archives used in this game. File, open file, and you have to know where your mod manager saves your mods. I got 3 different SSDs, and it's in the Fallout is in the last one. Mod organizer, Fallout, mods, and it's Russian assault pack. There it is. Open it, and you will see a loose folder because it was an update by the mod author. And textures and main, we need to extract main, but we don't need to extract the whole package. So select none and open it, and you see different subfolders, meshes. And depending on the mod organizer, that this may look different, but usually if he's halfway reasonably, you will find what we need. And we need the sites. I believe it's, yeah, you see different weapons, and the Bison is there, and sites. So you see that's quite a lot of sites actually for this weapon, and let's extract all of them. And he asks you where to extract them. With my setup, it chooses the folder the mod itself is in, and it's a good choice. We will suggest expand. I'm from Germany, so you probably can't read every text you see on the page. Okay, let's close this one, and we open this one with the Explorer. Okay, you see both archives, the ESP, MetaINI, not entirely sure for what it's used, but anyway, and we go into meshes, Russian assault pack, Bison, sites, and here's a full list. The process when I'm working on this looks like I start the game, spawn in the weapon, now with the iron side, make a save, go to the weapons workbench, and you mod the weapon. And usually when you go into sites and you go down the list, it crashes usually with a site that's problematic. In this mod it was nearly every site, not the scopes, but every site, even the iron glowing sites. But going down the list in the game, that's how you know which ones are causing issues and which ones are fine. And in this case, the second one on the list is the glowing iron side, so you probably look into this one first. But in most other weapons, the glowing iron side were not the issue, so we will look into one of the red dots, which usually are the problematic ones. Let's look into the basket. My setup is my PC is already set up to open NIF files with NIF scope. Your setup may vary, but that's why we downloaded the program. Okay, and now here we see the site. We search for shaders that cause issues, and in my experience usually it's either related to glass or to a reticle. Glass is easier because we just can't we can delete it. Reticle, we have to find a replacement. In the Russian assault pack it usually was the reticle. I believe the Spectre of the Dragunov had also a glass issue, but let's click on it. And here we see the different part of the site. Let's load it in. Let's expand this one. And you here see a glass shader. And since you are doing this with a weapon mod, you're not exactly sure what it is. It's try and error. It usually makes sense to create a backup folder and copy every of this NIF into this one, so you can easily, because you're just deleting stuff and look, was this the issue or not, you will copy it back because you don't want to delete things unnecessarily. In this case I already know it's not the glass, but if I want to delete it, click here, right click, block, and then remove. The glass itself stays in place, but it will be invisible. But in this case it's a little bit more complicated because it is and you can see this one only from specific angles, not from this side, only here. Let's click on here. It's here called reticle. Let's expand this one. And this shader is causing the issue why the Russian assault pack crashes, as one of them. And sure, we can also delete it, like the glass I just showed you, remove. But now it's invisible, and for a site that's not especially useful. The replacement, I choose to use assets from the vanilla game, because I know everyone who's using the mod or has to use the vanilla game, so he has also already the assets. He could possibly also, if the mod itself has a site that works, you can use the reticle of that site. Or in theory you could use assets from another mod, but it's not a practical solution if you want to publish it, because then everyone who wants to use your fix has to or also have the other mod. So what I did is again, Bethesda Archive Extractor, file, open, and this time we are not searching for the mod, but for the game itself. It's in the Steam library. I got on every SSD as a part of my Steam library. Quite ridiculous, I know. And we find Fallout 4 here in the data. I have every DLC installed and some CC stuff, so your folder might look different than mine. You will find two mesh folders. I already know it's in the upper one, but if you don't, you have to probably try out on which one it is. Open, and I choose to use the 10mm reticle. But many weapons in Fallout 4 have a red dot, so you could use the one you like. Select none, and here we go into meshes. It's halfway organized. The weapons, see the 10mm. Let's expand this a little. And you see the grip compensator, barrels, etc. And here we got the reflex side, it's called the red dot. I already know you need the lower one, this one, and you can extract it anywhere you want. I got mine on the desktop, so I won't extract it again. And we only need it as a reference. We won't change anything in it. Let's close all this. See here, I got a folder with all the extracted meshes. I got many unnecessary data here. We only need circle. I use the circle one because I like it more. And open it also. Now they are next to each other. It's great. Here you can see the See that? That's the reticle. In the VR version, they are quite far ahead of the site itself, which make them more usable in VR. And we want to copy this effect. So going back to the mod, right now it says shader property none. Right click here, attach, Bethesda, effect shader property. How do I know that? Because I already saw this in the, let's see, it's a Tritium dot card. You can see it here, BS effect shader property. And then we now got here an entry BS effect shader property. What we do now is copy everything here to here, so that this one is more or less the same on this one. You see here, use fall off and Z-buffer test. Double click here. No. Yeah, sorry. Z-buffer test and use fall off. Click here. Close. I have no idea what any of this means. I just copy it. Here, source texture, we Control C and insert it here. There's something called fall off stop angle. I'm halfway sure this means at which angle you can see the reticle. You know, when you point the gun far with an inboard angle to yourself, you won't see the reticle anymore. I believe that's it. But I'm not entirely sure. Okay, here we can change the color. In vanilla, the reflex side has a green circle. You can see it here. I preferred red. You can see the values if you double click on it. Red, green, blue and alpha, I believe. That I shown the last one. We use the green and red values reverse, so this one gets red and not green, because I prefer this. And one, okay, oops, I forgot something. Okay. Yes, now it's red, great. This one. To say you do this after you really realize that the reticle is the issue. You don't just blindly change it because, as I said, it is possible that the glass is the issue. But if the reticle is the issue, this one is, that's what you have to do. The one last step after we copied everything, you see that this one is quite ahead of the side, and with this one, let's click here. You see it's very near. We want to get it far out. We get here, right click, transform, edit, and I usually try out a value of 60 to 70 and see how that works. And now we see it there. And the fall off angle, from this angle you can see it. No, you can't see. That's what a fall off means, I'm quite sure. Okay, I believe that's it for this for this side. So we just save it. Okay, close this one. Whoop. Anyway, I don't have my headset ready right now, so it doesn't make any difference. You won't change anything in here, so just close it. And when we go back into Mod Organizer, because it's loose files, they will take priority over those in the archive. So if you go into the game now, the alternate sites are loaded, not the one in the archive. And from here on, you have just to test every single site. Does it cause issue? And then go the whole step and see what it is. In this case, in most sites, it was the reticle. So I usually started with the next site after I realized, okay, it's the shader with the reticle. I usually started deleting that one, load it in. Does it crash? No. Excellent. Let's change to the 10mm dot. Okay, and another weapon was a grease gun. It's an older mod, but the issue was already there. Sorry, that was again archive extractor. Open file. Organizer. The grease gun. Again, we don't need the texture archive, we need the main archive. Open, select none, extract. This one has less sites available, makes it easier to fix. Grease gun and expand. Not entirely sure which one of these both is, you have to try out which one is necessary to be changed. And extract. Okay, and now they're here. Again, open. I already know it's at the glass, but it could also be the reticle. If you are not sure, you have to test both. Let's get it nearer. And if it's a glass, let's click here. You will see it's called glass here. Expand, and it's got an alpha property and an effect shader. The easy part about the glass is you don't need a replacement. You just can't. You just delete it. The site is still usable because the reticle is still there. So right click, block, remove. See, it's changed in appearance here. Then you can save it. Again, because it's now a loose file in the mod folder, it will take priority over the archived one. And sadly, it involves a lot of try and error. That's also the reason why I don't want to fix every weapon out there. But hopefully now you understand how you can fix it by yourself. I hope this was understandable. First tutorial I ever made. Third take, I have to say. I wasn't happy with the first two. Let's see if it gets a fourth one. Yeah, have a nice day. Bye.